Hello Year 4, I hope you're all okay. Today in reading I have some more retrieval questions for you, thinking about what you read yesterday. So can you pause the video here and have a think about the following 5 questions please? Off you go. Okay, what did Lila use to make a toothbrush? Do you remember? That's right, she put 4 twigs together and she brushed the edge of them to make them look like a paintbrush so they could use them to brush their teeth. What happened to Max when he tried to get onto the raft? That's right, he fell in, didn't he? And then he came back up and he was blowing out lots and lots of mud from his mouth, wasn't he? He was coughing lots. Do you think that Con wanted to go on the raft, and why? No, maybe she didn't want to go on the raft. She was a bit scared that they'd get lost. She was scared that it'd be quite unsafe. She doesn't really like to do a lot of things, does she? So, do you remember what the bright birds were called that flapped over their heads when they were floating on the river? That's right, they were called the blue macaws, and that was a type of parrot that Lila wanted. But do you remember her parents said that Max was speaking so much that he was like a parrot, so they didn't need another one. And finally, do you remember where they wanted to go on the raft? They didn't want to go to England on the raft. They wanted to go to Manaus in Brazil because that's where they thought that they would get safety. Because remember, they're in the Amazon rainforest. It would take quite a long time for them to get all the way back to England because here is England and here is the Amazon rainforest. So it's quite a long way away from each other. They wanted to get to Manaus because Manaus is about here by the Amazon rainforest. Okay? In today's lesson, we are going to go back to inference, making inferences from a text. So with this inference lesson, by the end of the session, you'll be able to read between the lines of a text, making connections, drawing conclusions about what the text might mean. You will be able to draw these inferences, such as inferring characters' feelings, thoughts, and motives, and also you'll be able to justify your inferences by using evidence from the text. Your first new word today is the word polling. Now this is a 2-syllable word and it's a verb. It's an action. And it means where you propel a boat by pushing a pole against the bottom of a river, canal or lake. So you can see here that there are a group of children that are on a raft, probably a bit like how the children in our book are right now. And this is here a person poling. They are trying to move a boat by pushing the pole right down to the bottom of the river to change direction, okay? So that really long pole, it'd go right to the bottom of the river, right to the surface, so that they'd be able to touch it and they'd be able to swerve themselves to a different direction. In the book, it's quoted as, "The raft swept round a corner with Fred poling hard." So that suggests to me that they were going round a corner at quite a fast speed, and Fred put the pole into the bottom of the river to try and steer the direction in a different way so that he wouldn't kind of crash or go too fast. Another way we could use this word is by saying the boatman appeared poling a small gondola. So that is a type of boat too. So he was trying to pole the gondola by changing its direction, making it to go a different way. And the second word today is undulating. This is an adjective, it's a describing word, and it has 4 syllables. Undulating. And this word undulating means that something has a smoothly rising and falling form or outline. So you can see here that this road is undulating. You can see it kind of ripples. And this here is another picture of something undulating too. It's rippling. It looks like it's got a wave. And these can be classed as our synonyms for the word undulating. Something that looks like a wave, a ripple, or a whirl. Whereas an antonym would mean straight. If it's not undulating, it's straight. And in the book, it's quoted as, "There was something black undulating through the water towards him." So there's something black, what might it be, under the water, kind of causing this ripple effect in the water. And another way that we could use this word is by saying the surface consists of undulating planes, okay? Now, we are going to continue to read the last part of our next chapter, which was the Maiden Voyage. So they are on the raft at the moment. Where are they going? We know they're trying to get to Manaus, but are they going to get there, or is something going to happen? So we know Con has volunteered to pay attention to which way they were going so that she could tell them and they couldn't get lost. So she'd just declared that she had a photographic memory. Page 84 then. Really? Asked Lila, fascinated. You mean you see pictures? Do you remember everything that way, or only some things? Mostly just maps or formula and blueprints for things. I used to like taking them out to look at during lunch breaks in school. In my head, I mean. The others thought I was weird. In that case, they're stupid, said Lila bluntly. I'd love to be able to do that. The raft swept round a corner with Fred poling hard. We turned left coming out, so the final turn home will be right, said Lila. Right, right, said Con. She grinned. Her smile changed the whole shape of her face. Her cheeks rose and pushed her eyes into little squints, and her mouth stretched up and out to her earlobes. Her touch-me-not look vanished. If you shout out the directions, we could do it together, if you want. So now Con is feeling really happy with herself because she has like a sense of purpose. She's now doing something really nice for the rest of the group, and it's making her feel quite proud, and actually she's realising, it's actually quite nice to be nice. Fred kept poling. The branch was giving him new shilling-sized blisters on the pads of his hands, but he didn't slow down. There was a twist, he found, that he could give the pole that made them speed faster. It blew Max's snot in a high ribbon up his face. The sun was hot and sharp out here. The air tasted brand new. Faster! Shouted Max. He rocked backwards and forwards on his haunches, so he was on his knees and he was rocking backwards and forwards to try and say, go faster, go faster. He was obviously enjoying himself. They hadn't gone far before there was another fork, so that bend in the pathway. One looked choked with weeds, so Fred chose the other. Left, called Lila. Left, Con echoed and nodded. So you can see the teamwork between them now. I wonder how that will change their relationship. The left bend took them into the narrower river, winding slowly among close-set trees. Fred pulled up his pole and they drifted, staring down into the water. A shoal of fish, a group of fish, swam helter-skelter under the raft. Max leant dangerously over the edge, dangling his fingers in the water. Suddenly, Con jumped. The hairs on her arms rose up in a blonde wave. What's that? What's what? Something's down there. Silver. Down there. A piranha. Con's voice came out thin and high. Max, get your hands out the water. They all peered down into the water. There was something small and silver trapped among the weeds. It's not moving, said Fred. What is it? Said Con. I think it's not alive, said Lila. A dead piranha, said Con. It's a silver box, said Lila. It's hard to tell. It's probably just a trick of the light. I'm going to jump in and see, said Fred. Just quickly. No, you're not, said Con. Lila very softly took hold of his wrist. Don't, she whispered. It wouldn't be clever. But it could be a knife, said Fred. It looks man-made. Please, you keep the raft close by. I need to see. I'll be in and out. It's simple. Fred, said Con. So he jumped in. He pulled off his shirt, evaded Max, who tried to grab his ankle, so they were all trying to stop him from getting in, and jumped over the edge of the raft. The water was calm here without the current and cool against his skin, so he thought it might be quite safe. Fred kicked downwards. Weeds wrapped themselves around his ankle as he went deeper. His lungs began shrieking at him. The silver something was just a little further. What do you think it might be? He brushed it with his fingertips, kicked desperately, and snatched it. It was sharp against his fingers. He shot to the surface. Got it! He held his fist up to show them, treading water. It means he was kind of doing a little doggy paddle in the water. But the two girls weren't looking at him. They were staring into the water a few metres from the raft. What's that? Whispered Lila. Fred glanced down. There was something black, undulating through the water towards him. Fred gasped, swallowed a mouthful of water, and began to choke. An eel, said Max brightly. An electric eel, said Lila. Swim, screamed Con. She snatched the pole and tried to steer towards Fred, jabbing the branch into the water. Lila held out her hand over the edge of the raft. Fred swam the distance to the raft faster than he had ever moved in his life. He launched himself onto it. The raft tipped drunkenly under his weight. We are not going to find out what happens next. That is your job to read what is going to happen next, okay? You can either do that by pausing the video now and reading it on the screen, or by reading it in your resource pack. But it is really important you do read it because that will help you answer the questions today. Okay, so today we are going back to Inference. So we are looking at Inference Iggy. So we will be looking and reading the text as a detective. So remember, when we are making inferences, the answers are not there for us. We have to hunt and find them ourselves. So you're not looking for what is said or what is written. You're looking for what it might mean. And we have looked at a variety of Inference Iggy questions so far. Now today we're going to go back to looking at the 5 W's, who, what, where, when and why, and also the H, the how question. Because this question means that we need to look at the text and be a detective and think, why did they do that and what did they mean about it? Now today, your questions are all going to tell you to look at a page, apart from 2 of them, which I'll show you in a moment, but they will ask you to look at a page. And they will ask you to find a group of words that suggests something. So we're going to try one together, and I'm going to model to you the steps that I would take to answer this question successfully, and then you're going to have a go yourself. You ready? So look at page 85. Find a group of words to suggest that Max is excited to go down the river on the raft. Now that's quite a long question, so let's break it up. Now let's first do what it says and find page 85. And we can see page 85 is on the screen now. Then I have decided to highlight my key words so I know exactly what I'm looking for. Now I've highlighted the words 85 because that shows me that I know that I've got to go to page 85. I've also highlighted group of words because this tells me that it's not just one word, it's a group. It could be multiple words, it could be 2 words, 3 words, 4 words. And I've also highlighted the word excited. So I've got to find a group of words that mean the same as excited. But I don't mean a synonym of excited, like joyful or jolly. I mean words that suggest that someone is excited. So it's a little bit more tricky. Now what I'm going to do first, I am going to read page 85 and find where maybe Max is speaking, because we know it's all about Max. It's not about Lila, Fred or Con, it's all about Max. So we can start reading it until we find something that Max has said, speaking too fast. And I can see here that on the first part of page 85, Max shouts the word faster. Now this could mean that he's excited and he wants to go faster, or it could mean that he's saying faster in a form of a question, but it doesn't have a question mark at the end of that, it has an exclamation mark. And we know that when we use an exclamation, it's often that we are excited. Now that's just one word, it's not a group of words, and I need to find multiple words to show that he's excited. So I'm going to carry on reading and I can see that it says, faster, shouted Max. He rocked backwards and forwards on his haunches. So if you're rocking backwards and forwards, it means that maybe you're a bit impatient. It means maybe that you're a bit excited, that you might want to do something, that you're looking to do something. So that to me suggests that he was excited. I am though going to read the rest of page 85 because that's what it says, and I'm going to see if anywhere else Max seems excited. Now I can see down here it says Max leant dangerously over the edge, but is that showing that he's excited? No, it's just telling me something that he's doing. And apart from that, Max doesn't really have anything else that he does on this page. So I can see here that something that made suggest that Max is excited is that he's rocked backwards and forwards on his haunches. So I can begin to scaffold my answer. And I'm just going to simply write the quote, which is what I've done. I've put my quote in quotation marks by saying he rocked backwards and forwards on his haunches. Now I've just copied the exact wording there, nothing's different. And then I'm just stating what I know, and I'm just using the words from the question here. So I've used the words, he rocked backwards and forwards on his haunches, suggests that Max is excited to go down the river. Now that is the exact same wording here. Find a group of words to suggest that Max is excited to go down the river on the raft. Now, We need to make sure that we state why. How do we know that this sounds excited? Well, we know this because when someone is rocking backwards and forth, it often suggests they are impatient or excited. So that is our first modelled version.